On the weekend of May the 8th, my wife and I went to Salado, Texas. This was our third time visiting Salado, and we really enjoy this small, very artsy town. These images here were taken at the hotel early in the morning, about 6:30 in the morning. And then we went into the town. This is called the Old Town area of Salado. Again, it's very early in the morning and the shops weren't open yet, but we were just doing a little sightseeing, trying to see things that we hadn't seen previously when we went to Salado. The two times we had been here before, it was for our Scottish festivals. My wife is from Scotland, and we both enjoy going to these Scottish festivals. And on this trip, we learned that some of the early settlers that settled this town were from Scotland, which is kind of unique in this area. A lot of the small towns in the hill country, at least, were settled by Germans, but this town was settled by Scottish people. So we found that interesting. Of course, my wife liked hearing that. There's a sculpture garden. Again, Salado's a very artsy place. This sculpture was made out of old recycled tires. I'll just let you look around this sculpture garden for a little bit. Much of my channel is dedicated to keeping our bodies healthy. I feel it's also very important to keep our mind and our spirit healthy as well. And we find these little trips to beautiful places are very good for our mind and spirit. And I hope you enjoy this video. Still in the sculpture garden there. Now we're walking down the main street there in Salado. Salado's a small town, only a little over 2,000 people, but they have a lot of festivals and fun things going on there. This sculpture, there's a story behind that, the catfish and the mermaid. There's a whole story behind it, and apparently the catfish deceived the mermaid. And this is a spring-fed creek that runs through town. It's beautiful, similar to the Barton Springs area in Austin, if you're familiar with that. And again, this is early in the morning. Later in the day, you'll see a lot of children playing in the water there. I told you there were a lot of festivals that go on in Salado. On this particular weekend, there was a cowboy poetry and cowboy singing thing going on at this particular booth that you're seeing there. They were making cowboy coffee and cowboy biscuits and giving them out for free. There's a glass blowing place there that we hadn't been to on our previous trips, so we decided to go in there. And beautiful glass pieces that were actually blown there in this place. In a moment, you'll see some folks actually taking part in the glass blowing, and you'll see that in just a moment here. You can see the furnaces in the background there where they heat the glass up at where it's soft enough to blow. And beautiful, beautiful pieces. See the young man there? He's actually blowing into a tube. They had, disposable mouthpieces that they would put on the hose each time a new person came up there to blow glass. And the man in the blue T-shirt works there, of course, and he's doing the actual forming while the young teenager was blowing into the tube there. There's another man in a blue shirt blowing while one of the workers forms the glass. It was really fun to watch glass blowing like that. I'd only seen this once before in my life, and it was in Venice, Italy. And so it was kind of neat to see it in a small town in Texas, too. Again, Salado's very, very artsy. A lot of artsy type people living there. Here's one of the cowboy poets, and the man next to him with the red shirt is going to be singing in a little bit. But the man at the microphone is doing a little cowboy poetry. And there's all kinds of festivals that go on throughout the year in Salado. Salado's kind of halfway between Austin and Waco, and they draw people from both areas. Killeen is also close by where Fort Hood is, and they draw a lot of people from Fort Hood. But you can see how artsy the place is. That white fence with old bicycles spray painted white attached to it. And everything they do around here tends to be pretty artsy. This is a footbridge, and at the end of the footbridge, you'll see Billy Goat Gruff. Yeah, there's Billy Goat Gruff. There's a old story that goes along with that. Again, I feel it's very important in times. That's the Barton House. That was originally owned and occupied by a doctor, the doctor in town, Dr. Barton. It's now a nice restaurant. Again, we're just walking down the Main Street area here. You can see how beautiful and artsy everything is. Now we're back to that Springfed Creek where a lot of the children get in and splash around and play, and you can see that area there where a lot of kids and adults too are out in the water. This was a great steak and barbecue restaurant. Out back, they have area where they hold open air concerts. There was nothing going on the night we were there. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed our trip to Salado.